Hi guys, I'm coming to you from Madagascar, and almost a week in on my vacation. I'll be here for 30 days. Um, I want to talk about a serious topic as far as not about avoiding ambitious women. Um, Ambitious women tend, not all, I'm talking about in general, tend to have a lot of masculine traits, and you will be competing with ambitious women. Ambitious women do not want to be wives. They will say they want to be wives, but they are not truly wives. He that findeth a good wife findeth a good thing. That's in the Bible. And because I tend to focus more on Eastern philosophies, it goes back, as I mentioned in a previous video, the Bible says that he that findeth a good wife findeth a good thing, because true women and men have not biologically changed at all for since biblical times. So even biblical times, most women were not wives. All right, maybe more so now than it is back then. There were probably more wives back then than there are now. But even back in biblical times, you were warned that, if you find a wife, you find a good thing, because most obviously women, not every woman in biblical times were wives. And we that saying is also true today. Um, and because we live in the modes of material nature, leaning heavily towards passion and ignorance, and not ignorance in as far as attitude wise, but ignorance as if in as an expression of lack of knowledge. Um, I think we know more than we really do know. Instead of realizing what we do know is significantly small compared to the vast array of knowledge that's out there. So those are the two. That's how I am approaching the modes of ignorance, using Eastern philosophy. Um, you want to avoid ambitious women, um, because they're on a hustle as well, and they won't be able to join your team, whatever you're trying to do with your life. And even if you have already established what you want to achieve in life, and you're comfortable with the lifestyle that you have, if you get involved with an ambitious woman, they won't join you expecting you to stay with what you have. They will want you to push and get more, as though that the more you have is what's going to determine your happiness. And a lot of modern Western women fall into the category of chasing this, keeping up with the Joneses, and chasing more and more. The more you have is never enough. You always have to be chasing more and more. You can never be content and live within the boundaries of the means that was created. And each mindset has its place, but you have to be willing to live with the consequences of that mindset. It being ambitious. If a woman is being ambitious and that's what you need as a man to push forward, and you both of y'all could do it and grow, by all means do so, and do that. However, when you all grow together in such a dynamic, it creates a lot of problems, because the power dynamic is always going to be there. There's always going to be a power struggle. Now, I learned this from a very wealthy couple. When I mean wealthy, I'm talking about 100-foot yacht wealthy, mansion wealthy, multi million-dollar wealthy. Um, they started together. They were around the same age, young, building, buying houses and renovating it. Obviously, the woman lent her helping hand. She was there helping, doing what she can do, and he was obviously doing most of the work, the heavy lifting. But whatever she did, she contributed heavily to that. But she was never a boss bitch. She was a, well, the way modern women look at being boss bitches. She was a boss bitch in her own right, but she was feminine. She was a feminine boss bitch. She was a mother boss bitch. She was a wife boss bitch. She wasn't a boss running shit boss bitch. She knew her lane. They are in their 80s right now. These were former clients of mine when I work in the shipping and the boating industry. And they are still married. They've been married for like 45 years or so, almost 50 years. They never, they're still together, obviously. Even to this day, they're still together. Their children run their business now. So, off on this tangent, they started off renovating homes, and then they went into commercial property, and then they expanded from small commercial property into big commercial property. And every step of the way, the woman was there working with her man, her husband, 9 to 5 job or whatever. Sometimes he stayed later because obviously he had shit to do. But when it was time for her to leave, she went home, took care of the house, make sure the kids were picked up and dropped off at school, and did all the other things. And obviously when he came home, he went ahead and did whatever his stuff he had to do on the weekends, cut the grass and all that whatnot. And as their wealth improved, she still remained a wife. She still cooks his food to this day, and make sure the house, they live on their yacht, the 100-foot yacht right now, even though they still have the mansion. But when he comes home, they're eating food at home, it's not a maid cooking the food. It's her cooking his food. It's not a maid cleaning the boat or the yacht or the house that they're living in. It's his wife. And they have more than enough money to hire a maid. But because it's just the two of them now, because their kids are grown, they have their families, and they're running the business now, why would you need a maid to sweep one bedroom or cook one plate of food or 2 plates of food? And she has always cooked the food. There's no need for a maid to cook for just one person or 2 people, or even 5 people. That includes 2 adults and a kid. There's no requirement for a maid. At least that's what she said. She didn't hire a maid even though they have millions of dollars, because what's the point of me being a wife or a mother if I hire a maid to do the stuff that I'm supposed to do? It's not that she said it's not that she couldn't afford it. It's just that she wanted to be the one that's feeding her husband, feeding her kids. So when her husband's eating a meal, he's thinking about me. He ain't thinking about how good this maid cooked this food for him. She's thinking about him, thinking about her. So that's an example of a woman, and this is a Western woman that has that didn't embrace the bad bitch mentality that's seemed to be viral nowadays in young women in 2021, 2022, and possibly for the next 10, 15 years. And this woman really is a bad bitch. She's a multi-millionaire. She and her husband travel all up and down the East Coast on their yacht. They worked hard together and she supported her husband. She didn't lead, she didn't push, she didn't do none of that shit. She supported, and that empowered him to go out and do that shit. And he said that because his wife never pushed him to do anything, he went out and started doing this. The business grew in such a way, so effortlessly, because his wife supported him. It wasn't really hard work, so the money came so much easier than if he had to fight and push and try to meet the expectation of a bad bitch. He doesn't like the word bad bitch because he's 85, 80 years old, something like that now. But he just so they don't really speak like that. But to hear him say it was kind of funny. But that's how he explained it to me when I spoke to him recently on the phone, because he saw some of my videos and he was asking me questions. So I was talking to him on the phone. And I say, yeah, I work with youths, and a lot of times I'm talking about all this crazy mindset of bad bitches and all this stuff that's going on with our young women, and how how the laziness has gotten to a point where they're hyper ambitious, but not willing to want to work, but they want to push a guy or do this all this other crazy stuff. And those who are willing to work will be willing to settle for anybody. They price themselves completely out of dating market. It's like a highly educated person with a doctor degree using his doctor degree to get a janitorial job. You're overeducated for that kind of job. So the women are pricing themselves out of the dating market, being these bad bitches and whatnot. And you need to stop calling yourselves queens and all this stuff. You're not royalty. You're not born into a royal family. You're a commoner just like everybody else. I am in Africa right now. Not one woman, not one of them refer to themselves as queens and bad bitches. Not one. And they have Western influences, but the culture itself, not one of them has ever said there's some queen. A queen, you cannot be a queen if you do not have a kingdom to rule. You cannot be a king if you don't have a kingdom to rule. So stop you in the literal sense of it, you're using unrealistic terminologies to refer to yourself. You're a man, you're a woman, you're a husband, you're a wife. Where in this are you a king or queen? Yeah, you may be the king or queen of your own your home, but the way it's presented is as though people should kneel down before you to even get into your presence. So save all that terminology, because it elevates ego, it elevates pride. False ego is a dangerous thing if you look at Eastern philosophy. If you have any questions, ask it in the comment section down below. Like and subscribe. You all have a good day.